Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 13 of the Nourish and Strengthen podcast. Today is going to be a short one. Hopefully, it'll make you laugh a little bit and it'll have a takeaway as well. But I'm going to tell you guys the story of one of my most embarrassing moments. Like, literally, it was humiliating. And that is the story of my very first bodybuilding competition. Okay, so if you have no idea what that world looks like, you're going to get a kick out of this story. Okay, because I had no idea what it looked like either when I first stepped on stage for that first time. So I'm going to break that story down for you, and there is a takeaway to apply to you guys as well at the end. But let me start by going over my last 7 days. So by the time you guys hear this, Caleb will be home. Oh my gosh. From the time of recording this, he gets home in 3 days. So we are so excited, of course. But also by the time you listen to this, Brinley will have moved out. And that is like, oh my gosh, you guys, this week is it's so bittersweet. Like, so many great things and also sad things. Brinley's going to be staying close, but she'll be like a half an hour away. So it's not the same. Those of you guys who have kids at home, it's not the same when they're not like under your roof all the time. It's going to be sad. So lots of good things, lots of sad things. Business is going great. If you guys don't know, we do free strategy calls for clients. If you're, you're just kind of not sure where to go next with your fitness goals. Maybe you're not quite sure, what to even do because you've been spinning your wheels, all that kind of thing. We do free strategy calls. So just shoot me a DM on social media and just say, hey, can I get a link for a free strategy call? We'd be happy to jump on one of those with you. So, those are picking up, because, kids are going back to school. All of us moms have more time for ourselves. So yeah, if now's a good time for you to do that, let's go ahead and jump on a call. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into my most embarrassing moment. So this is back in 2009. So let me kind of give you an idea of what the bodybuilding world looked like at the time. Okay, so it was nothing like it is now. Absolutely nothing like it is now. So there was the bikini division, which now is a very, very fit, very lean look. It's not a healthy thing to maintain long term. That was brand new. It actually came out in 2009. And the figure division at the time looked kind of more like bikini does now. Okay, so bikini was much softer, much more of like super fit girl you'd see at the beach or at your gym is what bikini was back then. Okay, so that's kind of the premise. Okay, so back in, I think it was like October of 2009, I went up to BYU, which is a college that's probably 15 minutes from our house, and they had a bod pod. So if you're not familiar with a bod pod, it's basically this like egg-shaped space looking thing that you put on a swimsuit, you put on these like goggly things, and you sit in there, and it tests your body fat percentage. It works by like air displacement. I'm not super familiar. I haven't done it probably in at least 10 years. So I don't really remember exactly how it works, but it works with air displacement. Anyway, that's about all I remember. But I remember I got that test, and the results told me that I was 18% body fat. I had never tested my body fat in my life before that, but I thought that 18 was pretty darn good. It is good. But at the time, I thought I was like, invincible. I thought I was like, it was basically like you could have just handed me an award for like the fittest girl ever around. Okay, so I was just like on cloud nine. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's like all my hard work. This paper shows me that all my hard work is working, and I am just so confident, which is, I'm kind of being sarcastic here, right? That's how I felt, but it was silly. Of course, I'm kind of poking fun at myself here, right? I was super impressed with myself. Okay, so next, like not even the next day, that day, I remember driving straight to the gym to work out. And I was in the bathroom and I saw a flyer for a bodybuilding competition. They had bikini, they had figure, they had men's bodybuilding. Men's physique wasn't around yet. And they probably had women's bodybuilding as well. I can't really remember, but it was a flyer for the upcoming competition. And it was next Saturday, I think this was a Friday. It was probably like 8 days later. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just had a body fat test and it said I was 18%. So that means I'm super fit. So that means I'm going to go into this competition next Saturday. Okay. I did not know what I did not know, right? Okay, so I get on message boards, I start Googling things, and there's not a lot out there at this time, you guys, about competing. And so I didn't have any idea what I was getting into. Okay, so I bought a suit off the rack, which actually was very normal back then. Like right now, the bikini suits are like blinged out, covered in diamonds and jewels and stuff, right? But back then it was not like that. So I got a suit off the rack. I got the clear stripper heels. I took one posing class. I didn't even know. You guys, I didn't even know. I didn't even know what posing was. And so I went to this one class and I was like, that made me a little bit nervous. Because, there was a bunch of people there and I was like, okay, I don't really know how to pose like this. I can barely walk in these 5-inch heels. Like, what the heck? I Googled competition spray tan and I bought, oh gosh, what was it? I can't remember the brand, but I bought a product that I applied on myself at night, like the night before. And I thought I was ready to go. I was like, here I go. I am a bodybuilder now, right? That's how I thought. And so Saturday comes. I don't even think I did anything with my nutrition. I wasn't even doing anything with my nutrition. I just really literally showed up thinking I was tan enough, thinking I was lean enough, thinking I was fit enough. And I was like, here we go. I am doing this. And you guys, let me tell you something about competing, okay? You can feel so incredibly fit at your gym or at your local community pool or whatever it is. And then you go to a competition and you realize that is like a whole nother level. Like, it's insane. Okay. So I walk in there to the school that it was at. Now, let me see if you guys have ever had a dream, like, the dream where you go to school or you go to work naked and you're like so embarrassed. Then you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, that was a funny dream, whatever. This was that. But like in real life, IRL, I was there and you're basically naked. And I was not lean enough. I was ghostly white. So just a little side note here. A lot of people wonder like, well, why in bodybuilding competitions do you have to be so incredibly dark? The reason is because, most of us understand the idea, right? That you feel and look leaner when you're more tan, right? That's why people use self-tanner. That's why we just like having a tan in the summertime. You just look healthier. You look a little bit leaner. You can see your muscle definition a little bit more, right? Same thing here, but you have to go to the extreme because, for one thing, you're trying to look as lean as possible. You are trying to be as lean as possible, but you also have those super bright stage lights. It's kind of equivalent to like dancers that put on a ton of makeup, right? And then they get on stage and they don't really look like they have a ton of makeup on. They just look more normal, but then off stage they have a ton of makeup, right? Kind of the same kind of thing. And so to go on stage not tan enough, you really just look pretty dumb. You look pretty dumb. So I had no idea what I was in for. There are people backstage working out. I was like, why are people working out? We're here for a bodybuilding competition. If you haven't worked out before today, then I think you're a little bit behind, son, And so I had no idea about pumping up. I didn't know that they were, doing specific styles of exercise, specific rep ranges, lightweight to get a pump in your muscles. I had no idea about that. Okay. So I show up there. My class is super big. Again, bikini is brand spanking new. It might be the first bikini show in Utah at the time. This is October of 2009. My class was really big. I was immediately moved to the outside of the row. Okay. They had us all up there at once. I probably placed last or second to last. I'm not really sure. I didn't ever look into it. So it was very embarrassing. It was embarrassing walking on stage. It was embarrassing walking around backstage. I remember coming off and just wanting to cover up and shrivel up and go home, right? I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But what that did, and seeing those people who were next level fit, insanely fit, it kind of gave me a glimpse into that world. And I was like, wait a second. I think I want to do this, but I want to do it. I want to see what happens if I really apply myself and if I really try hard. And so I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, so I'm going to hire a coach, right? Of course, you got to hire a coach. If you want to do something and you don't know how to do it, you hire a coach, right? It makes perfect sense. So I hired a coach for $30 a month. And just like now, back then, you get what you pay for, okay? $30 a month. I got check-in every 3 weeks. I only talked to that coach every 3 weeks. Had cookie cutter workouts. I remember the first time I got this meal plan, I got a meal plan from him, and it had like 3 ounces of canned tuna for breakfast. And I was like, canned tuna for breakfast? Like, there's not even any mayo listed. Like, what am I supposed to do with that canned tuna? And I was like, yeah, ew, no, thank you. I won't be doing that. And so it was just super cookie cutter. I did that for my next show. So I decided to compete in March of 2010. And I worked with this coach for a few months before that, obviously not really getting a lot of coaching. I mean, what do you expect for $30 a month? Pretty ridiculous, right? I placed top 3. And so I was like, cool, this is awesome. Look at what I can do if I actually apply myself and learn how to do this, right? So then I got a little bit overconfident, and I thought that I knew enough about competing that I could prep myself. Of course, right? It's this whole thing, guys, about you don't know what you don't know, right? And so my other mistake that I made here was I competed in every single local show, which was, I think there were 4 a year at the time, making zero progress. Because if you're constantly dieting, constantly competing, you can't make any progress, right? I mean, the same goes whether you're competing or not. If you're always in a calorie deficit, you are not going to make progress with the shape of your body unless you just need fat loss, right? But even then, you shouldn't always be in a calorie deficit or you're not going to progress long term. So, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. So I competed in every single show. I was never really looking any different. I would always place top 3 or so, which is fantastic, but I never looked different. And so after a whole year of not seeing any changes, that's when I realized that I really had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing because I was watching people that I was competing with get better and better. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? I had no idea how to progress in the competitive bodybuilding world. And so that's when I swallowed my pride and I hired a real prep coach. Okay. So moving on, we'll kind of go into more stories about competing at that time. I just kind of wanted to share that quick glimpse into how I got started and how, it's a big eye opener. If you see people, so here's your takeaway, right? You don't know what you don't know. If you see people around you progressing and getting better and you're like, why am I not? Like, what am I doing wrong? There's things out there you don't know. And I'm the same way. I don't know what I don't know, right? Which is why I continue to hire mentors, hire coaches when I want to learn about things. So I talk to women all the time who feel like they know what to do, but they're still not seeing results, okay? Probably most of the women we talk to on these strategy calls that I was talking about say that. They're like, well, I know I know what to do. I just can't get myself to do it. Or I know what to do and it's not working. That's another one that we hear a lot of, especially as the women we're talking to are getting up into their, high 30s, low 40s. Things just don't work like they used to, but they don't know what to do. Right? I have been there, you guys. I totally get it in this competing scenario, but also in my hormone journey. You don't know what you don't know. And so there's so many things. So hiring a good coach, not a cheap cookie cutter one, because that $30 coach didn't teach me hardly anything, right? But you want a coach that will be there with you, guiding you all the way to your goals and adapting your plan as you progress or as you struggle. If you're struggling with something, your plan needs to be adapted as well, okay? Guiding you to your goals, that is going to be the game changer for you. And that will teach you things that you didn't even know existed. And it may even ignite a spark that will completely change your life, you guys. We've done that for so many of our clients. So if that sort of coaching calls to you, if you feel like, oh man, this is really resonating with me. I know that I don't know what I don't know, right? I don't know what to do. What I'm doing is not working and I don't know another way. You guys, my team would love to help you. And like I said, hopping on one of those strategy calls that I talked about in the beginning might be a perfect next step for you. So you can at least learn what's out there. So if that's you, I want you to head on over to Instagram or Facebook, DM me, Trainer Lindsay on both platforms. Tell me you just listened to the podcast and you want to know if coaching might be right for you. There is absolutely no pressure. If it's not right for you or not right for you right now, that's totally fine. I can give you some pointers. I can send you a freebie or two that might help you with where you're at right now. Okay. So hopefully that helped you guys. Hopefully, maybe it was just a little lighthearted episode so you can, realize that all of us are beginners at some point. All of us start in a place where we don't know what we're doing and we don't know how to do things differently unless we get help, right? So hope you enjoyed this silly little story. If you enjoyed it, give me a 5-star rating and review, and I will talk to you guys next week. Okay, have a great week, guys.